Hi folks, and welcome back to Fishing with Den. Well, it's a lovely day at the moment, but we had a frost this morning, so not expecting much out of the fish today. Obviously the water's pretty damn cold, and under those circumstances carp in particular don't move around too much. So we're going to have an experimental day. Just for instance, have you ever gone out on a cold day and caught fish immediately, fed a little bit and then caught nothing else? Well, certainly I have. So one of the things that occurs to me is that sometimes by feeding you're actually spooking the fish in these conditions. So today's experiment is to fish with no feed, just a simple piece of sweet corn on the hook, and as usual I'm going to fish with a waggler. It's on my pond, it's only 3 feet deep, so of course the water gets badly affected by the frost. And then the other rig I'm going to fish, instead of fishing with the feeder, I've got a hair rig on, as you can see, and then I'm going down. This is just a sliding bomb or sinker, and all I've done here is I've taken a loop, tied the first loop at this point, and then tied 3 more loops in there, so that the bomb only gets to there, and then your hook length doesn't get tangled up with the bomb as you're casting. Again, no feed other than 2 bits of sweet corn on the hook. So, don't know if this is going to work, but let's give it a go. Well, that's not bad. Fed no bait. Only a small fish, but it's the first one after 15 minutes, and it's tiny. And guess what? It swallowed it. Well, can't argue with that, can you? Good start. Cool. Again, not a big fish, but I put no bait out there at all. Just a bit of fun. This is one of those things that they call a goldfish over here, very much like a crucian, got no barbules, so not a proper carp, but very welcome nevertheless. Swallowed it as usual. There we go, nice fish. Wow. We're half an hour in. I just leaned down to grab something and I watched the reel go backwards on the float line. I wouldn't normally, oh god, this thing's pulling. I wouldn't normally fish 2 rods, but because I thought it was going to be really quiet today, I thought I'd try the ledger and the waggler, but I'm just hoping now that this thing doesn't kite to the left too much and I end up losing it with the waggler, because that's where it's going. It's way, way, way to the left. Hope we can go under it. Wow, took off like a train. And this is winter. I'm not sure if I'm under or over the waggler rod, but I'm hoping I'm under it. Well, let's see. Oh no, I'm over it. That's quite good. We can go over this way now. Well, that's a good fish. Must try this no bait more often. Put this down in the water, down like that, so it's sunk the line. Well, wasn't expecting that today. Down behind these reeds. There we go, across the rod. Oh yeah, not bad. Excellent. A little bit crowded today with 2 rods out. a good fish. Well, there we go. Can't argue with that, can you? Nice fish. Big mouth. Okay, well I've been here an hour. I've had those 3 fish. I'm a little bit quiet now. And I haven't had anything on the tip. Had them all on the waggler, obviously. So what I'm just doing, I'm just feeding a single piece of sweet corn, literally a single piece, out there at a time. Not very often, just once every couple of minutes, putting one single piece of sweet corn out there, and we'll see if we can prompt a few bites that way. I came here last week. Again, it was a frosty morning, and although I fed a bit lighter, I still put a reasonable amount of feed in there, and I think that was a mistake. So time's going to tell today whether we do well or not, but I'm hoping that this new approach of feeding extremely lightly, if at all, is going to pay off. Seems to be having a bite on that, yeah. On the tip. Well, that's okay. I've chucked the tip a good 30 or 40 metres out there, just to see. Obviously there's no bait whatsoever except what was on the hook. And I can't feed that far, so this is proving to be quite a good method. Let's tighten the clutch up a little. The trouble with fishing 2 rods, of course, is that you've got to check your other rod as well. Oh, we're okay on the float. Right. Don't think this is a particularly big fish, but very welcome. Yeah. Not bad. Probably a couple of pounds or so, and just hooked in the lip. There we go. Not quite sure what's going on here, folks. I went to reel in because I didn't have a bite. Obviously I'm eating, so apologies for that, but I've got one hanging on the end. No indications whatsoever. Well, they must be hardly moving at all. It's only just lip hooked as well, look. Well, well, well. So as you can see, the ledger just wasn't working, so I'm going to go back to a method feeder. Obviously, I know I said originally I was going to experiment with no bait, but I've been here an hour or two now and I've had that one fish on the ledger, and that's obviously not enough. So I'm going to try the method feeder and see what happens. Obviously I'm going to throw it to the same place and just see if we can pull some fish in. It'll give me a few more answers on the day. Not a big one again. On a small carp without the barbules. Swallowed it again. They never open their mouths, these ones. There we go. Nice fish. Might have a run. Yeah. Tiny little slow movement to the left. Really slow. Hardly moved the float down. Hardly moved it to the left, frankly. Lucky I even saw it. All nice fish. And it's probably been on there for a while because it swallowed it again. There we go. Still struggling. Right, well, considering the fact that I keep getting bites that I'm hardly seeing, going to show you how to use the telltale shot. This number 6 is going to be moved down from here onto the hook length. Or to be more specific, I've got to take this one off because of the knot and put another number 6 on here. And it'll be about 3 inches from the hook. That means when the fish lifts the bait up, it lifts that up, and the float from being there in the water rises up to there. Good way of catching these fish on a very finicky day. Well, let's hope so anyway, guys. Well, still getting bites, still small fish, but good fun nevertheless. Whoops, not very good, Dennis. Still nothing on the method feeder. It's been out there for about half an hour or so now. Something going on. Just moving to the left a little bit again. See a little bit more of the white band than I could before. Yeah, there we go. Only small again. This one's got caught in its dorsal fin. Okay then folks, well I've been fishing now for about 3 hours or so and I've been catching steadily by feeding hardly anything. One piece of corn at a time and 2 little pellets every now and then. Now's the time to see if by feeding heavier that'll bring them on better or whether it'll kill it stone dead. And of course that's part of the experiment today. So let's give that a go. I'll just cast this in and I'll start feeding probably 8 to 10 pellets and then a few pieces of sweet corn, say half a dozen 8 pieces of sweet corn. Just get this line sunk. There we go. Still nothing on the method feeder. It seems that by fishing quite some distance out I'm not doing the right thing at all. Maybe it's just that I'm feeding too much with the amount of feed that's going on the method feeder. Certainly today, out on the float line there, fishing with a single piece of sweet corn, a size 14 hook, and feeding very little. Been going okay, so now we're trying the additional feed just to see if that brings them on or kills it completely dead. That'll be for the last hour or so. Some of you might be wondering why the fish have always swallowed it. Even though I'm fishing fairly delicately, I'm only just 2 or 3 inches over depth. I've got the telltale shot just literally off the bottom and they're still swallowing the bait. Well, sometimes, especially with these smaller versions of carp, they can just pick it up and sit there. The problem is when they sit there they're still chewing away, but they're just not moving away with the bait. So you have to be really careful and look out for even small movements sometimes on the float. Just getting a little bit of a bite, this time it's going left to right. There we go. Tiny little bobs, probably less than 3mm little bobs. Didn't go under, but it was moving slightly left to right, so as it was a positive movement, kind of, it was worth hitting it. Just goes to show how finicky these fish are today. This one is just inside its mouth. Makes a change. But even so, still need the disgorger. Nice fish though. Well, after a very long time. After a very long time, I don't believe this. The legend rod's gone round and I've had a good fish on, as you've just seen, and guess what? It's come off. Still, that's fishing for you. Well, looks like I was right then. It would appear that less is more. float's not really moved much lately, and certainly the feeder's not done anything for ages. Had that one fish that I lost on it, but again, gone completely dead. So it's coming up to the end of the day then now, folks. It's about 3:30, and since I've been putting a bit more bait in, I had, I think it was 2 or 3 bites after the initial baiting of sweet corn. That was only 6 to 8 pieces of corn. And then after that, after about 10 minutes, I put another 6 to 8 pieces of corn in, and it killed it stone dead. So the experiment seems to have proven itself. I'm happy about that. I would suggest that if you follow this kind of rule in the future yourselves, feed your way in slowly. Just for the sake of argument today, I did start off by feeding nothing, but I think you do need to feed something. So 1 or maybe 2 pieces of corn fairly infrequently is a good way to go. It gives you bites all day long. They may be slow and steady, but at least you're catching. And remember, it is cold weather. We had a frost this morning, and often that can kill the thing stone dead. Certainly 6 to 8 bits of corn going in when I'm feeding them. It's nothing in the summer, but in the winter they've just backed off completely. The swim's gone dead, as I just said, and really, experiment proven, as I probably just said. As far as the method feeder goes, that's been in for a long time. I had that one bite, which I lost the fish, but there's been nothing since. And again, you're putting bait out there, and they must have backed off. They just didn't like it at all. But hey, had a good day. Hope I've shown you a few things, given you a few tips. If I have, that's great. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to click the like button, and you can always subscribe. Other than that, bye for now then, folks, and I'll see you next time.